Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and sisters, welcome. I hope you're well. MashaAllah, half of Ramadan is just about to go. You know, Ramadan comes and goes. Before you know, Ramadan will be over. And the tragedy would be, did you make the best of Ramadan? That would be the tragedy of Ramadan. If Ramadan came and went and did not make the best of it. What is the best of Ramadan? I wonder. I want you to also ask yourself this question. What am I doing in this month of Ramadan that is so different to every other month? What is it that I'm doing in this month of Ramadan that makes it unique and a very special experience? What am I doing in this month of Ramadan that makes and gives this particular month an edge, a unique edge? What is it that I'm doing that makes this Ramadan special for me? That's the question I would like you to ask yourself. Remember, half of Ramadan is gone. Allah does not want us to just starve of food and keep ourselves thirsty without any drinks for no reason. If your Ramadan has only been because you've been not drinking and not eating and staying away from these basic things, then you have wasted your time. Allah doesn't want the fasting of those people who fast. And while fasting, swear, slander, backbite, gossip, look at evil, say evil, hear evil, all sorts. Allah doesn't want fasting of those people. If you have been fasting and doing all that, you have just wasted your time. You might as well not have been fasting. So, my brothers and sisters, question for you is, what are you doing to keep your Ramadan or making your Ramadan special? I've got two people already saying Salam Ali Nuruzaman, Salam Alaikum, Nuruzaman Ali, Allah bless you. And Sarah Boniface has said Salam Alaikum Assalam, my dear sister Sarah, welcome. We are, of course, here to start our program as usual. Every day we're broadcasting, well, I've been broadcasting from my home studios, as we call them. And Alhamdulillah, it's been going very good. It's getting stronger by the day. 15th of Ramadan has gone, half of it has gone. Allahu Akbar. Will we get another opportunity to do the same ever again? That's a question that I always wonder. My brothers and sisters, will we be alive for next Ramadan? Do you think you'll be alive for next Ramadan? Many of our friends and families that we already know who've passed away through coronavirus, we are absolutely devastated by their death. But they didn't survive. They passed away. You will pass away. I'll pass away. We'll all pass away. Will we be alive for next Ramadan? That's a bigger question that we need to really consider. My brothers and sisters, let me make it easy for you. We are doing a live broadcasting for Abdullah Quilliam Masjid today. Abdullah Quilliam Masjid is a masjid in Liverpool, the first mosque of Britain. It was built in 1887 by Abdullah William Quilliam, a gentleman, a white English gentleman, Liverpudlian, a Scouser who converted, embraced Islam, and became not only just an ordinary person, but an embracing, a Sheikh of Britain. He was known as the Sheikh of Britain. That's the only title ever given to a British person called Sheikh of Britain was Abdullah Quilliam, never again and never before. One and the only Sheikh of Britain. Wallahi, he has passed away. May Allah have mercy on his soul. We have Sheikh Waddah joining us from his home also in Scouserland. Sadia Ali says, Salaam alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam, Sadia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh Waddah?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah. I can't complain at all. How are you feeling about today being the end of 15th fast?
Alhamdulillah, subhanallah. Yani, like you've mentioned, it's flew by, and the ayyam of barakah just fly by. And like you've said, like a great reminder, subhanallah, that no one knew that we're gonna have Ramadan in this state of isolation last year. No one knew anything about it, subhanallah. And like so, these days we don't even know we're gonna live until Ramadan. Inshallah, we have the health and inshallah everything, the well-being of to see next Ramadan. But we should always live our last Ramadan as if it's our last, subhanallah, to leave our good footsteps on the earth, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Allah bless you for that good reminder. Let me get you to start reciting from one of my favorite surah, Surah Maryam. Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كافها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب واجعله رب رضيا يا زكريا إنا نبشرك بغلام اسمه يحيى لم نجعل له من قبل سميا قال رب أنا يكون لي غلام وكانت امرأتي عاقرا وقد بلغت من الكبر عتيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين وقد خلقتك من قبل ولم تك شيئا قال رب اجعل لي آية قال آيتك ألا تكلم الناس 3 ليال سويا فخرج على قومه من المحراب فأوحى إليهم أن سبحوا بكرة وعشيا فخرج على قومه من المحراب فأوحى إليهم أن سبحوا بكرة وعشيا يا يحيى خذ الكتاب بقوة وآتيناه الحكم صبيا وحنانا من لدنا وزكاة وكان تقيا وبرا بوالديه ولم يكن جبارا عصيا وسلام عليه يوم ولد ويوم يموت ويوم يبعث حيا واذكر في الكتاب مريم إذ انتبذت من أهلها مكانا شرقيا فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا فأرسلنا إليها روحنا فتمثل لها بشرا سويا قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا قالت أنى يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين ولنجعله آية للناس ورحمة منا وكان أمرا مقضيا فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا فناداها من تحتها ألا تحزني قد جعل ربك تحتك سريا وهزي إليك بجذع النخلة تساقط عليك رطبا جنيا فكلي واشربي وقري عينا فإما ترين من البشر أحدا فقولي إني نذرت للرحمن صوما فلن أكلم اليوم إنسيا فأتت به قومها تحمله قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا فأشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام علي يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا ذلك عيسى بن مريم قول الحق الذي فيه يمترون ما كان لله أن يتخذ من ولد سبحانه إذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون وإن الله ربي وربكم فاعبدوه هذا صراط مستقيم صدق الله العظيم.
Give you hayatan tayyiba for amazing recitation that you've just made. May Allah bless you, give you the best of this world and the hereafter. Wonderful. Thank you again and again and again from the bottom of our heart. We have so many people, mashallah, listening to your words that you're reciting from Allah's words and your voice. Allah give you a long life, inshallah.
Ameen, inshallah. May Allah bless
your wife is back, or is
Allah
still
accept
working?
everything from us, inshallah.
I mean, is your wife back, or is she still at work?
No, she's back. She's done 7 till 7. She's going to go into work till 7 in the morning.
Oh, Allahu Akbar. Allah give her best, inshallah. Thank you, brother.
Ameen, inshallah.
Take care, everyone, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Barakatuh. The Shaykh Wadah there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say goodbye to him. Allah give him hayatan tayyiba, and Allah give him long life, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, like I was saying to you all, the only way we can make sense of what's going on is by staying connected. So, Saadi Ali says, salam. Target, inshallah, there is a target of some amounts to raise for Abdullah Quilliam Masjid. Please support them. Support us, of course. If you want to support us, you can find the details on Abdullah Quilliam Mosque's page, and as well as on my Facebook page. You can donate. We're looking to raise a bit more money, inshallah, for this masjid. It needs your support and help. Jazakallah khair, brothers and sisters. So, Surah Maryam. This is a surah of a very beautiful surah indeed. Let me give you the meaning. The larger part of this surah is devoted to stories of earlier prophets, beginning with Zakaria, and he was given a son in his old age. This is followed by the story of the birth of Jesus to his virgin mother, Mary. It establishes the truth of Jesus, leaving no room for argument about his human status. A portion of Ibrahim's story is then told, concentrating on his call on his father to believe in God and to ascribe no aspects of Godhead to anyone else. These stories are then followed by brief references to several prophets, including with a statement outlining the nature of prophethood. The final third of the surah is devoted to discussions of life after death. It mentions what happens when people are resurrected and how their fate is sealed. It presents particular powerful description of the universe as it denounces the very idea of associating partners with God. Ladies and gentlemen, in the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent, I'm going to only read a few verses and its meaning while you listen. Kaf ha ya ain sad. This is an account of the grace which your Lord bestowed on his servant Zachariah. When he called out to his Lord in secrecy of his heart, he prayed, "My Lord, feeble have I become, my bones and my head glistens with grey hair. But never, my Lord, has my power to you remained unanswered. Now I fear my kinsmen will do after I'm gone. For my wife is barren. Bestow them upon me, out of your grace, a successor, who will be my heir as well as an heir of the house of Jacob, and make him, my Lord, one with whom you are pleased. Zachariah will bring you the happy news of birth of a son. Zachariah, we bring you the happy news of the birth of a son, whose name shall be John. Never have we given this name to anybody before him." Zachariah said, "O my Lord, how can I have a son when my wife is barren and I am well advanced in years?" He said, "This is it. Your Lord says, this is easy for me, even as I had earlier created you when you were nothing." Zachariah said, "My Lord, give me a sign." He replied, "Your sign will be that for 3 full nights and days you will speak to nobody." He then came out of his people. He came out to his people from the sanctuary and signified to them by gesture to extol God's limitless glory by day and night. To his son he said, "Yahya, hold fast to the book with all your strength." We granted him wisdom, and while he was still a youth, as well as by the grace, compassion, and purity. And he was always God-fearing and kind to his parents. Never was he haughty or rebellious. So peace be upon him on the day he was born, on the day of his death, and will be on the day when he shall be raised of life again. Relate in the book the story of Mary and how she withdrew from her family to a place in the east, where she kept herself in seclusion. We then sent to her our spirit, who appeared in front of her in the shape of a well-made human being. She said, "May the Lord of grace protect me from you. Do not come near me, if you fear God. I am but an emissary of your Lord," he said, "and have come to you to give you a news of a son endowed with purity." She said, "How shall I have a child when no man has ever touched me, and I've never been a loose woman?" He answered, "Thus did your Lord speak. This is easy for me. We will make him a sign for mankind and an act of grace from us. It is a matter we have decreed." So she conceived him and retired to a faraway place. And the throes of childbirth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. In her anguish she cried, "Would that I've died before this and passed into complete oblivion." But a voice from below called out to her, "Do not grieve. Do not give in to this grief. Your Lord has provided a brook running beneath you. Shake the trunk of the palm tree towards you, and it will drop you fresh ripe dates. So eat and drink and be happy. Should you see any human being, just convey this to him. I am vowed to fast to the Lord of grace and will not speak today to any human being. At length, she went to her people carrying the child, and they said, Mary, you've indeed done an amazing thing. Sister of Aaron, your father was not a wicked man, nor was your mother a loose woman. But she pointed to the child. They said, how can we talk to a baby in cradle? Whereupon he said, I am a servant of God. He has revealed to me revelation and made me a prophet, and made me blessed wherever I may be. He has enjoined on me prayer and charity as long as I live. He has made me kind to my mother, not haughty or bereft of grace. Peace was on me on the day I was born, and will be on the day of my death, and on the day when I shall be raised to life again. Such was, in the words of truth, Jesus, son of Mary, about whose nature they still dispute. Ladies and gentlemen, first 21 verses from Surah Maryam. Let's invite our dear Professor Ron G. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Ramadan Kareem. When I last spoke to you a couple of days ago, I had said that on this occasion today, I was going to talk about the personality of Abdullah Quilliam. But I hope you'll forgive me if I change my mind and put that talk off until Sunday. The reason why I've chosen to change my mind is it's BE Day today, and I spoke to my father earlier, in fact, just before this program went live. And my father is 97 this year and a veteran of the Second World War. And I rang him up to talk about his experiences of BE Day. And I started to think of all those young men who sacrificed their lives during that conflict. And many of them, of course, were from the British Empire. And amongst those would have been thousands and thousands who were Muslims. And that made me recall one of my favorite stories of Abdullah Quilliam. And I'm going to leap forward in time from the 1890s, where we were when I last spoke, to 1902. By 1902, Quilliam and the Mosque in Liverpool were well established and known throughout the Muslim world. In fact, we can get an idea of how well known the mosque had become, because 1902, which had seen the death of Queen Victoria and was expecting the coronation of her son as Emperor Edward VII. A number of very, very important people, of course, were gathering from abroad, coming to London, including many, many Muslim leaders, both religious and political. Some of those would go to Liverpool and visit the mosque. And perhaps the one that certainly Abdullah Quilliam considered the most significant at that time of his visitors was in the summer of 1902, when the mosque was visited by Sharif Abdul Karim Murad, who was the guardian of the sacred mosque in Medina. To have such a visitor come, and not only just come and visit, but also give a sermon to the gathered British Muslims, would have been an extraordinary achievement by Quilliam indeed. But my favorite story of this time is another. Not only were very famous people coming to London for the coronation, but so were members of the British military. Soldiers of the Empire were coming in their thousands to take part in the coronation procession in London that summer. Amongst those gathering were 1,000 troops of the Indian Army. Amongst those were many Muslims, and they had arrived in Liverpool from India on their way to London. The city thought this was amazing to have these visitors and decided to honor them with both parading them in their uniforms through the city streets, but more significantly perhaps putting on a civic reception for them at the St. George's Hall in Liverpool. If you know Liverpool, of course, you know St. George's Hall. It's one of the landmarks of the city, and it had been built, of course, in the Victorian era to show the magnificence of Liverpool's rise as probably the second city of the UK, certainly the second city of the empire, through its commercial enterprises and its growing docklands. St. George's Hall is a very, very splendid building. And that evening, if you can imagine, the guests arriving, many Victorian and Edwardian now, gentlemen and their wives, dressed up in their best clothes. And sitting in the front rows were the Indian soldiers dressed in their best uniforms, their dress uniforms. Quilliam was to enter, as this was a ceremonial occasion. He had been invited as the leader of British Muslims, the Sheikh al-Islam of the UK, that by now was being acknowledged officially in Britain. So he'd come out of his normal Edwardian dress and came robed and turbaned, dressed as an alim in an Ottoman style. As he walked down the aisle towards the stage to take his seat, 500 or around 500 of the Indian soldiers who were Muslims saw him coming down. As almost one man, they rose to their feet and shouted in unison to the Sheikh al-Islam of the UK, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. You can imagine the consternation of all these Edwardian ladies and gentlemen to hear this being called on this amazing occasion. It gives some indication of how well Quilliam was now known in the Muslim world, that members of the military from India, Muslims, knew who this famous personality was and were prepared to stand and acknowledge him for his work in the UK. There's a sad note to this story. At the actual procession, coronation procession in London, a Muslim officer, a sergeant major from the Cyprus regiment, had died in active duty. He had developed bronchitis. He was already apparently diabetic, and he collapsed at the coronation. The British military wanted him to have a full honours funeral, but they wanted it to recognise the fact that he was a Muslim, and for the funeral to be conducted as a Muslim ceremony. The soldier was being kept at the military hospital after his death. The military contacted the Turkish embassy in London and said what they wanted to do. The Turkish embassy contacted Abdullah Quilliam in his official capacity as the leader of British Muslims and asked him if he would come to London and conduct the funeral. Quilliam was to arrive, and the funeral certainly was an extraordinary occasion. It was done at walking pace, from the military hospital to the cemetery in Woking, the military cemetery, which also had a special section still there for Muslim soldiers who had died in British service. They walked, and that's some considerable distance from central London. Quilliam again was dressed ceremonially as an alim and led the procession, along with that soldier's companion in arms and other Muslims from London and Liverpool. They walked slowly, with Quilliam chanting, reciting from the Quran, pertinent verses of consolation. They went past some of the most famous sites of London, including the Houses of Parliament, Westminster Abbey. And as they arrived at the Abbey, that 1,000-year-old centre of Christian worship, where many of the greatest leaders of the British nation have been buried, the procession got held up by traffic, and the police stopped them for a little while. Quilliam took the opportunity to turn towards the door of Westminster Abbey and chant from the Quran. He would repeat that extraordinary verse of Islamic Tawheed, saying in Arabic, "Say, God is one. He is begotten not, neither is he begotten, and there is no one like unto him." Turning back, the traffic flowed again. The police allowed the procession on, and they walked slowly on towards the Woking cemetery, where Quilliam conducted the funeral. A few days later, with the coronation over, the Cyprus Regiment were returning and came to Liverpool to board ship to go back home. It was Jummah, and they came to attend the Jummah prayers at the Liverpool Mosque. And it is said that each one of the regiment came one by one and thanked the Sheikh al-Islam of the UK for how he conducted the funeral in the appropriate Muslim style for their dead companion. I like these two stories of Abdullah Quilliam. I like the idea of 500 Muslims coming to their feet to give him Allah Akbar on such a ceremonial occasion at St. George's Hall in Liverpool. And I like the idea of a Muslim procession going past some of the most famous parts of London, of the British, that are almost representative of the British Isles and its culture, and conducting a Muslim funeral that all the public were able to see. The roots of Islam and Muslims in this country go back much further than the post-Second World War migration. Thank you so much for listening, and Assalamu alaikum.
What a remarkable storyteller. Allahu Akbar. I would say Allahu Akbar from here for you, for your amazing words. Such a powerful story. I love it. The fact that this Turkish soldier was given such an honor, and Abdullah Quilliam was given such an amazing opportunity to lead the Muslim community in the UK. In those days, Sadia says, it makes me sad to hear in such circumstances, but we are learning a lot. Have made my contribution to the cause. Allah bless everybody everyone here and keep us all strong. Brothers and sisters, it is an amazing project to support. The first mosque of Britain, without a doubt. Remember, it's your heritage, it's your legacy that you are preserving. So each and every one of you who have donated and haven't donated, please make sure you tell others, your friends and your families. Okay, we're going to be joined by none other than the cook extraordinaire. Her name is Henrietta Savati, with a brain of a supreme brain, as well as a masterful skill in the kitchen.
I'm not sure.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I haven't seen you for a couple of hours.
I know. Alhamdulillah. I've been hiding.
I know. It's halfway through, right? We're nearly there.
Well, more than halfway through. If it's 29, then more than halfway.
Oh, great. I've got so much to share today. I have so much food and a really nice story as well. So let me tell you what happened today. I always believe that Friday is the day when our risk comes. So you go out and then you talk to people and they suddenly start sending food. So today we have actually a really lovely friend from Guyana. Was it Guyana?
Yes.
She sent some food. I can show you. It's just right here, actually. It's one of those little balls of probably dal, and then I think we've got aubergines here, like a type of pakora. And these little balls, they smell like dal, so I'm assuming it's something really delicious, which we will eat with some sauce. And we also had some amazing things that we've done today. I was going for a Tunisian theme. So as you can see, I've got my Tunisian jilbab on, which we got in Tunisia. And I made a Tunisian tagine, which is unusually, it's not the kind of tagine that when we say tagine, it's not like what we do in Morocco. But this is a kind of frittata with eggs and chicken and potatoes. It's quite simple to make. I put some harissa in it. And my daughter made an amazing bread, which is a cheese and onion bread. And just look at how perfect it has come out. It's it's springy, it's fresh, it's wonderful.
You're not doing any good to us. We're getting hungrier by looking at these dishes. Oh my God, you've already shown us 3. So Noura made that loaf. Show us the loaf again, please. The whole of the loaf. Put it on your hand.
Here we go. So the loaf is here, and it's just this incredible piece of bread.
Wow, that's amazing. She did a good job.
It's cheese and onion.
We should start selling her bread. Anyway, what else have you got to show?
So I've got mango lassi to start off, and then I have salad, I have the tagine, I have the pakoras, and I'm also making a Tunisian dish, a very typical dish. It's called brique, and it's the Tunisian version of samosa, which we have prepared. It's much bigger than the samosas, but it's samosa pad. And I made the tuna version of it with some potatoes, eggs, tuna, cheese. Again, very simple filling.
Lots of eggs. Your tagine had lots of eggs. It looks like your bread had eggs.
This one is just a bit of egg to hold the masa together. And then I will fry that just before iftar. And then I think we will have more salad with it. And I made an amazing fruit platter as well with custard apple, strawberries, and watermelon and melon. So that's about food. And I have a story today, which I really, really love. And this is the story. It always reminds me. Today I had a good day of fasting, as you can tell. I'm quite chirpy. This is a story. This is from the Chinese tradition. And this is the story that I heard very, very long time ago when I was experimenting with other religions. And so the story goes like this. A farmer and his son had a beloved stallion who helped the family earn a living. One day, the horse ran away, and the neighbors exclaimed, "Your horse ran away! What terrible luck!" The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We will see." A few days later, the horse returned home, leading a few wild mares back to the farm as well. The neighbors started to shout, "Your horse has returned," and brought several horses home with him. What great luck! The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We will see." Later that week, the farmer's son was trying to break one of the mares, and she threw him to the ground, breaking his leg. The villagers started crying again. "Your son has broken his leg. What terrible luck!" The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We will see." A few weeks later, soldiers from the National Army marched through the town, recruiting all the able-bodied boys for the army. They didn't take the farmer's son, still recovering from his injury, and friends were shouting to him, "Your boy is spared! What tremendous luck!" To which the farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We will see." Now, the reason why I love this story is a couple of reasons. One of them is what we consider to be good and what we consider to be bad may not be so. And we will not know until much later. So it's interesting to go through this experience called life. And it's so much easier and better when we don't judge what is happening to us, whether it's good or bad. Because there is a space somewhere in between where we accept. And for me, this is really the idea of tawakkul. This is when something looks difficult, but there is something good in it. We will only see it later. Or when something feels really easy, we think it's great, that's all I need. Actually, it may not be the path that we want to walk on. So the other thing which I love about this story is that how other people judge what's good for us and what's not good for us, because only we know what is truly beneficial and what is it that we want to invest ourselves in. You know, the neighbors were continuously giving this man the explanation, "Oh, this is great, that is great," and the man was quite stable and quite unattached, you know, to the outcome, and he just kept saying, "I will see how it goes, and it may be good, maybe not, but I trust God that whatever is coming, I will know what it is." And he wasn't, and I think this is a very human trait. It's a very human nature that we want to be getting attached to everything that is good and want to run away from something that is bad. But actually, sometimes we have to experience the bad to be able to appreciate the good. Today, I was training a group of parents about helping their children going through the anxiety of COVID. It was part of the program I was doing throughout the lockdown. And we kind of came to this conclusion at the end that, you know, life is like this, that we are put in a situation that we have no control over. But surely there must be something good that is going to come out of this, either for ourselves, for the world, for our communities, for our society. There is a bigger wisdom that we need to embrace. And that bigger wisdom is to let go of the attachment, continuously wanting to make something good when maybe it's the bad that is going to yield some good results.
Good point. I like that. Thank you very much. Very wise. So what was the reason why your fasting today was easier than the day before?
I have no idea. I ate the same amount of food. I ate well yesterday. I ate the same in the morning.
Maybe it's the chemical process in your brain. Brain will
say,
hey, it's all okay today.
I think I had a better sleep. Maybe that was a contributing factor. I had a much better sleep for this morning. And even when I'm not rested, when I sleep a little bit, 10, 15 minutes, that just helps my brain to kind of process that, you know, and I think with that, the body follows. So it was kind of invigorating today to actually enjoy fasting for the first time. So,
I'm glad you did. And I'm hoping that you will continue delighting our brain and our thought process and our color and our taste buds with all your
eyes, more like your eyes at the moment, because it's about an hour for us before we break fast, a little bit less than an hour. So.
Don't worry, you only got 14 to go or 15 to go, inshallah. You'll be fine. You'll be done, inshallah. Well done.
Yes,
thank you very much. I'm going to let you go and let you continue with whatever you're doing, inshallah. See you later. Assalamu alaikum.
Everybody enjoy the iftar. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Henrietta Sobati, ladies and gentlemen, who has let us into her house to share some of her cooking to our kitchen, which is absolutely amazing, really. The story reminds me of the cave. That's right, Sarah. That's true. That's how I felt too. Abdul Majid says, I don't understand what language that is, but whatever language it is, we have been now joined by none other than Dr. Omar Sheikh, who is a GP in St. Helens, Merseyside. He is a founder of St. Helens Mosque and an advisor to the AQS, which is Abdullah Quilliam Mosque. And he has been very, very, very kind and a fantastic friend of our project all the way through. May Allah bless him, give him a long life and hayatun tayyibah, and may Allah accept his fasting, inshallah. Let's see if we can see him. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah.
You've lost a lot of weight, doctor, since I saw you last time.
I've been fasting.
True spirit of fasting, alhamdulillah. But tell me one thing before I, jump into questions. Why is it that at this age I don't see any difference in weight? I've been wanting to lose weight every Ramadan. Before, I used to lose a kilo, or sorry, a stone by now. But already 15 days of Ramadan, I don't feel I've lost anything. I still look the same.
I think as time goes on, it does get harder and harder to lose weight. And I think especially if you're generally, if you are healthy and follow a balanced diet and a balanced exercise plan, it gets harder to lose those perhaps extremities of weight.
So I think I need to become a bit more drastic about my diet. Do you think that will work?
I think the key is always balance. So if you balance your diet and exercise plan and are consistent with it, that is the key. So any diets that are drastic or short-lived, you will generally always gain weight thereafter.
So the fact that I'm fasting in the month of Ramadan, I'm not eating fatty food, I've not touched any sugar since the beginning of Ramadan, I've not really indulged in a lot of carbs, I've been very good with myself. And I obviously haven't had the chance to exercise because I'm in the lockdown. And by the time I wake up, because I'm awake whole night, I wake up about midday, 11 o'clock, I'm back again to my studies. So I'm not really getting any exercise. Do you think that's the key reason why I may not have seen any shift in my weight?
Yeah, I mean, that's a difference as well. And we were talking about this the other day. I mean, most of us are now not able to do tarawih for the long tarawihs that we're doing in the mosque and attending the other prayers in the mosque. And that standing also contributes to weight loss, the travel, the commute, walking to the mosque. All of these things contribute to the mosque. Because of lockdown, we're all following quite a sedimentary lifestyle the past few weeks. So that is contributing. If on the surface of it you think you're following, or one thinks they're following a healthy lifestyle and a balanced lifestyle, and the weight still isn't moving, and there is genuine weight to move, and their BMI is a little bit high, and there is genuine weight to be lost, then it may be worth keeping a food diary and writing down the foods that one eats through the day. On the surface of it, and upon reflection on that diary, you may find there are elements there that appear healthy, that are otherwise not, or there may be quantities there of food that appear that seem small but are otherwise not.
But it is a usual complaint of most people that when they get to a certain age, about 40 or 45 or near 50, weight sits on their belly or around their belly area, really doesn't want to go anywhere, no matter what they do, unless they become regimental with their exercise regime. They go to the gym, they run, etc. Most people can't really afford that, doctor. It's not easy.
No, it isn't. So it's about balance. It's a lifestyle choice as well, and the key word is balance. So the key and the important thing is not to do anything radical. The media portrays a certain lifestyle and lifestyle choices. I mean, what I say to my patients is, if they're able to look after their cholesterol levels, their sugar, and maintain their weight within their respected BMI, then that's the important thing. Losing that last little bit of fat is not the be all and end all. And once you've lost the weight, the only way weight will go is up, unfortunately. So it's about striking a moderate balance. But if you, like I said, if you look after your sugar levels and cholesterol levels, have them checked 6 monthly or annually at your practice, at your doctor, that should keep most issues and kind of problems at bay, inshallah.
I was sharing with you my own personal thoughts rather than any particular question people were raising, because I try my best to stay as trimmed as possible, as healthy as possible. I cycle a lot. I'm not an inactive person, and I'm pretty certain very many people out there feel the same way. Oh my God, what's going on? So people should not lose hope. A little bit of a tummy is not a problem as long as your BMI index is not broken.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. So the key is balance. Tummy weight is an indicator of diabetes. Predictor of diabetes as well. So,
is it or is it?
It is. It is.
I see.
It is. So I think our ethnicity and ethnic choices and ethnic food contribute to some of our weight gain. Especially in this season and this blessed month, where we are feasting on, we are fasting, but ultimately still feasting on oily food, fried food, sweets, Asian sweets, and in a very short space of time, because there's very little time between suhoor and iftar. And because we're resting in between, we're not having the opportunity to burn that off. So we do have to be a little bit more careful and make wiser food choices in this month, perhaps.
Okay, thank you for that very good insight, and also a very helpful one, doctor, because you've given us hope rather than doom and gloom like some doctors tend to. For example, my doctor, I remember many years ago, told me you're gonna die if you don't. And I said, "Oh, calm down, doctor. How do you know I'm going to die?" So thank you for that. I've got one more question, which is to do with our everyday problem. So a lot of people complain in the month of Ramadan, they get a lot of headache, intense amount of headache, especially throughout the afternoon when you're nearing to the time of fasting. What does that indicate? And how can they manage that, and so that they don't get headache?
Often what we've noticed is people aren't drinking enough fluid during the eating hours. So they're not taking enough liquid on board, and people should be drinking at least 1 litre of water, especially as it's getting a little bit warmer, maybe a little bit more if they can, and that will just keep them hydrated over the 24 hours. Subsequently, they need to pace themselves during the day and this month. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So if you are, patients need to be careful on the amount of exertion they're doing and realize that their next meal will inshallah come between 8 and 9 o'clock. So if you do too much too soon early on in the day, it can lead to tiredness, fatigue, dehydration, which often presents as a headache.
So it's all to do with how much liquid you take. That's what you're saying.
That's a contributing factor, but also exertion and the level that you pace yourself. If you have a very busy morning and expect to maintain that level of exertion for the next 12 hours, that's unrealistic.
Okay, well, I drink a lot of water. I have a pitcher which is about this big. I don't know whether you can see that. Quite a big one. Takes about 1.5 liters of water, and I drink that every night. I finish it because I stay awake until suhoor and I'm doing my studies. And I learned this through the hard way, doctor. I few years back had kidney stones, a kidney stone in my stomach and in my system, and it was really painful. And it was Ramadan. And I remember the pain, but I somehow managed. And straight after Ramadan, I went over to the A&E. They lay me down on the X-ray because they didn't know what it was. I was just complaining of pain. So they're going to X-ray my stomach. And as I lay there, I fainted. And buckets and buckets of sweats and absolutely drenched the entire X-ray machine where I was lying down, the stretcher. And then they thought I had some sort of an attack, so they put all sorts of wires in me, took me down into the A&E, And then they did the x-ray, and the doctor looked at me, smiling, saying, "It's all right, nothing happened to you." I said, "What do you mean nothing happened to me?" He goes, "You passed the kidney stone. You had a kidney stone inside, and it passed your system, and that's why you fainted." And he said to me, "Go and tell your wife it was more painful than giving birth." I'm not sure whether I should say that. Let me get a slap. I don't. But it is true. It's very, very painful.
Very painful. Very painful.
And I fainted because of the pain. I just couldn't take it. Maybe our threshold as a man is much lower than women.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think we're all treading very carefully on a tight rope here. So there is a possibility that you could get kidney stones.
Yeah, so if you're not drinking quite enough on a regular basis, and we're talking about water here, so sometimes people drink fizzy drinks or pop or lots of tea and coffee and think, well, I've had 6 cups of tea, that's at least half a litre of water. We're talking about pure water. And like you said, quite rightly, one of the deficiency of water can contribute to renal stones.
Okay. Well, and also constipation is very normal while fasting, and that also comes as a result of lack of water. Is that right?
Lack of water, and lack of perhaps essential fibrous foods as well. And I think it comes back to iftari time, and especially iftari time, whatever's in front of us will quickly gobble up, and sometimes what's immediately in front of us isn't always the healthiest. So it's a little bit, it's about planning the month and planning your diet. And if you plan well and plan ahead, then that helps. The Shuyukh that I study with, they always tell us to fast in the month before Ramadan. That will help plant the seeds for Ramadan. So if we perhaps make intention to do that, inshallah, that will help us have a more worthwhile spiritual and physical Ramadan, inshallah.
So in terms of fasting throughout the year, you recommend it then, do you?
I mean, we should be following the Sunnah of our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the blessed days and the that he has advised, and he fast and the Sahaba fast. And we should be looking to have intention to follow in that pathway, in as much as we can. And if we can't, at least we make the intention. From a medical perspective, I think the key is perhaps not necessarily fasting, but having that balance between healthy eating and exercise. That's not changed. It's not changed in the last 10 years, 20 years, that advice, and it's unlikely to change in years and decades to come.
Thank you, Doctor. That's very beautiful. Let me just say, we have the utmost respect for what you're doing as in the medical profession, especially under the lockdown and coronavirus and pandemic. What you and the NHS, your colleagues in the NHS, doctors, nurses, and frontline staff, they're doing to save lives is just remarkable. So we just make dua for you that Allah gives you what you deserve, the best in this world and the hereafter. And Allah protect you.
Always remember us in your du'as, all the doctors, all our Muslims, brothers and sisters all around the world. Always pray for us, inshallah.
We always do. We are always remembering good work of our doctors. So what I'm going to say is amazing for your time. We're very grateful. You've been able to give some great insight. This program will be watched by people throughout the night, and they will come back to me. I know they ask questions, they raise them. By the end of the evening, I've had 1,000 people who have viewed it, and they would have shared it with friends. So alhamdulillah, it's a very, very good thing to promote Abdullah Quilliam Mosque's work. And inshallah, in the future, we want to continue. As you know, we've got this purchase coming up very soon that we want to complete on in the next few months, inshallah. So that's a huge challenge. So we're doing well. Keep making dua for us, and thank you for all your support.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Allah bless you, Doctor. Alaikum assalam. Dr. Omar there. I'm going to say goodbye to him, and thank you again for being with us, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to make dua now to finish our program. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wal aqibatu lil muttaqeen wa salatu wa salamu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين واحفظنا من الظالمين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Brothers and sisters, until tomorrow from me, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.